Welcome back, everybody, to the Who's Your Band podcast. Joining me today, as always, is my co-host, the beautiful, the very funny Mr. Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey, with your beautiful yellow Lakers shirt.
That's right. This shirt, I'm wearing it in honor of our guest today, because our guest, not only have you seen him on the Tonight Show with 3 different hosts, you have to say that when you introduce Bobby, by the way. He's also played the White House. This guy was the host of Vh1's Stand-Up Spotlight. He is an author. He has also played numerous times with the USO. Please welcome everybody. Our special guest for today, Mr. Bobby Collins.
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure. Let me help you out here.
Jeff, do you know why I'm wearing my Montreal Expos t-shirt today?
Because you want to be cool.
Because the last time I was on stage was the last game that the Expos played.
Is that unbelievable? 5 months.
I'm
5
dying.
months I've been out.
What's going on in LA, man?
Oh, these people here. It's, I grew up in New York City. So, of course, I still have a home there on Manhattan. And my wife loves it here in Santa Monica. We're right by the ocean. And these are the most white privileged people you could ever come across. Their whole thing is, oh, my God, I don't think there's going to be a red carpet this year. This is, they sit in front of their mansions, in front of their pools, telling other people, now don't go out if you don't have a mask and social distancing. Their pool is bigger than my apartment ever was in New York City. This is what's happening. It's Jumanji.
Now let's talk about New York City, because you're living in LA now, but growing up, you grew up in New York, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
You grew up in Queens.
Queens, and then Manhattan, and then we eventually made it out to Long Island.
Long Island. Now, when you were in high school, were you a funny guy? Were you like the class clown? Because you're also an athlete. People don't know that about Bobby Collins, but even now, Bobby still plays. Listen, Steve Marshall tells me, and Howie Dewey tells me on good authority, that you can still shoot, man. You're still a player.
Oh, I played basketball in high school and in college. I love basketball. Basketball was our only outlet. That's why when people call me up today, like this morning, Bobby, do you want to play golf with us? I said, no, but you can send over a gun and let me put it in my mouth and blow my brains out. Are you out of your fucking mind? Or baseball. I'm not a baseball fan either.
You don't go out to the Dodger games?
One pitch, 1001, 1002. The guy gets the ball back. He scratches himself. He drops. He picks up a pass. 27, 28. It's unbelievable how boring it is.
It was very tough watching the Yankees doubleheader yesterday.
Did you watch?
I watched the doubleheader yesterday, but they have different rules now for doubleheaders because of COVID. Now they only do 7 innings, right?
Really?
And yeah, doubleheaders. And because they canceled the Yankee game the day before because of the tornado, they played both games in Philly, but the Yankees were the home team for the first game.
But not the second game.
Not the second game.
Right.
I know. Is baseball going to last?
No, next week it'll be over.
Right. Because
I watch
basketball.
Basketball is going to be fine. Basketball will be fine.
Baseball will make it through simply because they don't want to give up on the revenue from the TV contract for the playoffs. They even added an extra rounds of playoffs.
Right. All about the money.
Right.
All about the money.
NBA and the NHL, not only is the quality of play fantastic so far, aesthetically, it looks tremendous.
It really does.
Have you been watching the games in the bubble?
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching. I watched, every day, which is nice because I'm out here in California. The games start at 3:00 and they're over by 8. So whatever it's wonderful.
Perfect.
And I only watch the 4th quarters of games because the first 3 quarters are boring.
No, I don't know if a lot of people know this, and I don't know I don't know if it's true or not about you, Bob, but is it true that your dad named you after his favorite comic, Bob Hope?
Oh, one day I asked my mom that, and she didn't even know I wanted to be a comic. And one day I said, hey, Ma, just curious, why'd you guys call me Bobby? And she goes, and she's doing the dishes, not thinking of anything. She goes, your father loves Bob Hope. I go, Mom, do you know I want to do comedy? When I grow up, I think I'd really like to do comedy. She goes, yeah, that's good. And she kept doing the do.
When did you know you wanted to be a comic?
I really knew it when I was young, because when I was really young, I was shy. And when you're shy, I used to see these kids that were popular. They got girls. They were had a lot of laughs. They'd fool around. And I said, wow. I even said to my friend Greg, I said, Greg, we should be more hanging out with those guys. And Greg was, no, you go ahead and do it. And I did. And I went out and told jokes, and I became very popular. I was the president of my high school.
How old were you?
Oh, back then, I say I was about 7 and 8 going up.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
You knew that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the teacher, we had to write a composition. What do you think you want to do when you get older? And I raised my hand. I didn't know how to spell comedian.
And what's funny about that is, don't you grow up later on to become a teacher?
I did. I was a teacher for really 1 year. But that again was a motivation, because I was teaching for 1 year and I had 32 kids in the class, and it was U.S. foreign policy, which was an elective for high school students. So it was 12th grade, and I had an audience. I had a captive audience. So if I had to talk about what your father and them was wearing back then, their pants was rolled up to their ankles, and I'd stand on a table and show them. And yeah, it was comedy. It was, I used it.
Did you like it?
Teaching?
Yes.
No.
You didn't. And at the same time, you're still at that time in your life, you're pursuing stand-up.
No, at that time in my life, I wasn't. I ended up going, I got a job at Calvin Klein.
Right. Yeah, that's another weird thing about Bobby Collins, is that you not only did you get it, you didn't only just get a job at Calvin Klein, you were a vice president at Calvin Klein, correct?
Right. And they had 6 of them. I was doing comedy at night, but in order to, we got $15 a set. Catch a Rising Star, Good Times, the Improv. You got $15. So during the day, I had to work. And I got a job at Calvin Klein, and to all the buyers that came in from around the country, I'd say to them, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Because people buy the person. They don't buy the product. Everyone's got a product.
Now, you take that philosophy with you on stage.
Yeah. And then I'd say to them, the buyers, hey, I do stand-up comedy. You ought to come over to Catch a Rising Star. It's a place on 68th Street and First Avenue. What do you do? They just sit and write up their orders. They were afraid in New York City. Go up in New York. Yeah. Oh, I come from the Midwest. Oh, I come from the South. I go, and they felt at home with me. So they'd show up. My orders were huge. And then one day after 6 months, they called me in, the head guy, and he says, hey, we're going to make you executive vice president. And I said, you have 6 of them. And he looked at me. I go, does it mean more money? He goes, yes. I go like this, then you can call me emperor. I didn't care. I wasn't going to stay there much longer. I stayed there the whole time, about 10, 11 months.
Oh,
I got
that's it.
And did comedy full time.
It's one of my goals is to actually get sponsored by Calvin Klein. It's my favorite clothing line. But I actually have a company that actually does send me clothes every once in a while, and they're called Dirtbag Clothing. So
Is that true?
It's dead truth. I'm trying to upgrade from being a dirtbag to a Calvin Klein model. So I'm on my way.
Well, the only thing, and I was talking about this at dinner the other night, because that's all we do is have dinner out on the lawn here in Santa Monica. Somebody was asking me about that, and she was talking about what she buys, all this. And she goes, Bobby, I heard you work with, I learned the quality of clothing, material, the texture. And that, when I go in and buy a sports jacket, I always feel the quality and what it, how much it should cost, how much it isn't. This is all cotton. This one's selling for $49. Yeah, you could buy the same thing over at Walmart's for $12.99. It's the same quality. Go for the better quality.
Always go for the better quality. So what were the early days of comedy like for you? Like, who did you pal around with? Who was like in your group when you came up?
Oh, I used to take dates, even working at Cal. I used to take dates when I was dating to Catch a Rising Star. So I'd see Freddie Prinze, I'd see David Brenner, I'd see, and it was great. I'd sit there and I'd like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And then I'd even give I'd give her some money to take a cab home. She goes, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm going to stick around and watch. She wanted to leave after 3 or 4 acts. And I'd stay. And then I eventually went over to the bartender, and asked him, how do I get on here? And he said, you got to come on Mondays. You got to come early by 4 o'clock. They give out tickets, and you can only do 6 minutes tops. That's when they had a piano player. Remember? Piano player play you up and down.
Hey, did you ever go over to Pips in Brooklyn?
No, never. Everyone asked me that. Never did.
You just seem like the perfect comic for that room.
Oh yeah.
And all the comics I worked with that we all knew each other was everyone from Drew Carey to David to Jerry Seinfeld to all the guys. We all knew Jay Leno. We all knew each other.
So now you get in, you're starting to work the circuit, you're doing well, and then all of a sudden, how did this happen? How did you wind up hosting Vh1 Stand-Up Spotlight? That was a show that was made very popular by Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell was a friend of mine. Again, a comic we were all together. So one day, I took up for her. Somebody said something, and I took up for her. And the next thing you know, she did some TV movie, A League of Their Own. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Of course, Penny Marshall.
Madonna or something like that.
Right.
Was it Madonna?
Yeah, Madonna. She kind of just made it.
Right, and all of a sudden I get all of a sudden I got a call. I was watching her on some TV show, and they asked her, what are you going to do with that show with the VH1 Stand-Up Spotlight? Remember, with the flashlights?
Of course.
And she said, and I didn't know this. She says, oh, it's going over to Bobby Collins. He's one of the funniest, and he's a gentleman, and everyone really loves him. And I was like, damn. And my phone started to ring, and then VH1 called up, and I said, I guess the cat's out of the bag. Let's negotiate money.
And then that really brought you to a different level, and you started to open for some of the Mount Rushmore of entertainers. So I have a question about 3 in particular. Okay.
Oh,
what was it like working for Sinatra? Let's start with the best.
Well, see, Sinatra's opening act was a guy named Tom Dreesen.
That's right.
And he was always with Frank. I was always, at that time, I was doing an 88 city tour with Cher. They have similar managers. It's almost the same. And we had a month off. And then I got a call because Tom or someone, I didn't know him at the time, got sick. And they said, would you run over to Salt Lake City? We'll fly you right over to open for Frank Sinatra. Now, my wife's Italian from Italy. Frank Sinatra to her is, even though you and I know he comes from Hoboken, right? So I was never that big of a fan, but this is show business. And I said, sure, how much? And they told me, and I got on the private jet. They flew me over there. A big guy named Jilly picked me up. That was his guy. He was like 6'6", massive guy. And he said, all right, don't refer to him. Don't call him Frank. It's Mr. Sinatra. Don't talk to him until he talks to you. And I'm listening to all this, but it's a job. So I'm going, okay. And we get there, and I go into this room where there's 10, 12 people answering phones, and he's sitting there with them. And they're going, hey, boss, it's that girl from Hoboken. She was on that strip club. He'd say, give her a couple of tickets. And, okay, you can give her, that. And they were all named after parts of the body. Bobby, this is Tony the arm. This is Vinny the foot. And I'm being a gentleman. I'm going, hi, Mr. Foot. Hi, Mr. Arm. So then the next thing you know, the phones were ringing. He picked it up. He picked one up, and nobody. He was like, everyone stopped. And I was like looking, I'm going, what's going on? He never answers the phone. And I could hear the guy on the phone say to him, all right, we need the Substar opening act. we need the sub star to come out for a sound check. Sinatra goes, he's a fucking comedian. He goes, just turn the power on. And he hung up. He looked at me and he went, you okay with that? I was like, no problem. No, we're good. No problem.
And this is like in the 80s, right?
Early 90s, I think, late 80s.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So this is an older Sinatra. So you also mentioned that you opened for Cher. What was that? Cher, come on. What was that like? I love Cher.
She's great. She's great. You know, I learned a lot from opening. Remember, I was working comedy clubs. You look down. And those big arenas and theaters, you got to look up and make everyone feel as if you're speaking to them individually. So that was a big learning lesson. Cher was like that. Julio was like that. Cher, we would all join hands before the show, and they'd say a prayer and ask God. You know, these people came out there with their hard-earned money to see a show. Let's give them the best show. I learned, you're right, you know, give each show, don't just phone it in, give each show the best, you know, and in the massive stage, we used to stand in a mic just at a comedy club. Now I'm walking around, I'm talking to that and I'm talking to that, you know. Cher, one time, first time I ever opened for her, we were at over 30,000 people, outdoor concert. People were in trees to see her. She arrived an hour and a half late. People were really upset. And then they went, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the comedic talents of Bobby Collins. I never heard so many boos in my life. Oh my God. I mean, I'm looking at them. I went out. I looked at them and I basically said, I started my act. They were still booing. And I said, hey, I have to be here for 25 minutes. I go, we can make the most of it or not, but I'm still getting paid. And I made them laugh. And then after 5 minutes, I got them. And then I went backstage afterwards and my underwear were wet from the sides of my armpits all the way down to my underwear. That's how freaked out that was.
Wow.
And the last person I wanted to talk to you about was Dolly Parton. Because Sean and I both love Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I had a problem with Dolly. I did. I have a new book coming out, and it's called Great Stories, Great Road Stories. And she had never played Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City, and she was booked there. And they called me up, and they said, Bob, Friday and Saturday night, you want this job opening for Dolly Parton? I went, oh, yeah, she's that country western, hump me, dump me, you know, fuck me on the car bumper. I don't know that stuff. So I said, sure, how much? It's a business, show business. And you got to remember, once you've opened for Sinatra, Cher, Julio, they all want you, the big guns, you know? So I remember going there, and it's Atlantic City, it's Jersey, you know, it's our back door, it's our back, you know, it's nothing.
By the way, Bob, I once opened up for Uncle Floyd. I mean, if we're gonna name drop, I'm gonna go round for round with him.
And Jeff opened for me 3 weeks ago. So
I did. Okay. Yes. So I mean, you know, so I can relate to exactly what you're talking about. Go ahead.
So then the next thing you know, I opened for her, and I felt very comfortable. It's Jersey. It's, you know, it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It's home. So we went off. I had a ball, and then I was changing afterwards in the dressing room, my room, and one of her girls came in, and I said, hi, and she goes, Dolly really loved your set. And I go, oh, thank you so much. She says, we just have a little problem. I said, what's the problem? I go, did a shit slip out or a swear or something? Because usually you got to crystal clear. And she goes, oh no, it's just that, remember, Dolly had never played there before. So she was really nervous or whatever. She was out of the South, you know? And they said to me, they wanted me to tone it down. They go, could you just tone it down? And that to me, and you and Adam, you know, to us as comics, that was like, wait a minute, I'm the opening act. She's a big star. You know what I mean? Tone it down. This is New Jersey, Atlantic City. Let's have a pissa. So I heard that, and I was like, oh, they want you to, you know, she does. Okay, they don't want you to. I'm not taking over your stage. You're the singer. I'm a comic. So then the next night, I got there a little early. I went out to the stage. The guys were warming up, all the guys from Nashville. I went, hey, guys, how are you? Being friendly like we are. They turned their heads on. They were cold as ice. And I was like, what the hell? I said, fine. Okay, I did my show that night. Afterwards, I did a good job. Afterwards, I get a call from my agent, Steve Levine, at that point, and he said, who's now the president of ICM, and he said to me, hey, Bob, they want you to stay on for another 18 shows. And I said, I'm going to pass. And I told him, he goes, why? You know the money? And I told him why. And he said, really? I went, yeah, I don't need to be around that. I like letting it out, having fun. You could have little insecurities, and I'll deal with that because we all do. But no, come on. So I never liked that. But here's the irony of the whole thing. About 8 months later, she came out with a book. In the forward, one of the acknowledgments, 8 of them, one of them was to comedian Bobby Collins.
Hey.
Wow.
So you made
it was weird because I guess you turn people down. They like you. I don't get it.
People want what they can't have.
I just moved on. It's okay. I didn't want to judge people. I was having fun. Look what we do. We get paid to have fun and make people laugh. Are you kidding me?
What was the best?
We used to. We used to.
Right.
Right. Remember?
Yeah.
So as we're reminiscing, going down memory lane here, what was the best gig you ever had? What was the worst gig you ever had?
I guess the best is, I love theaters. I love working theaters. So if I do 33, 40 theaters a year, all different places around the country, I just love walking in a big theater and they're there to see you. And they paid their hard-earned money to see you. So give them a show. Give them an hour, hour and a half. Give them a great show. Your opening act is 15, 20 minutes. But give them a show that you know the next time you come back next year, if they ask you, they'll all be there and they'll bring more. So I just love shows like theaters. You know, I don't like working in some theaters, some places around the country. People are dumb. You know, thank God my audience is educated. They come out, oh, Bobby, you got to talk. But, you know, when you're dead, you don't know you're dead. Other people feel the pain. Same thing when you're stupid.
How about worst gig? Worst gig?
Oh, I've had, I guess one time I was playing to a bunch of cops, and it was in a club, and it was a private thing. They asked me to come in for cops. I mean, the club asked me, not the cops. And they were talking and just fooling around and laughing, and with them, about 200 of them. And I'm looking at them, I'm going, guys, why don't you shut the fuck up? Come on, I'm here. Let's have some fun. And they kept talking, and one guy came over to me afterwards. He goes, what was that all about? I go, you're all loud. You didn't give a shit. I go, I do a show. I'm a trained performer. I don't want to be around. So, you know, that was one, and that was when I first started. Now I know how to handle audiences well, but right. I thought they were very rude.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction with that one, because this is why forever Bobby will always be in my heart, because I do a pediatric cancer show every year. And at the last minute, I had an act drop out. And I was like, I'm scrambling to try and find who's going to be available to play the Looney Bin on Staten Island on a Saturday night. And I call Bobby just out of fucking desperation. It's like, is there any chance that he's going to be in New York? I call you up, you pick up, and you're like, yeah, I'm here to do this gig, which you said, remember we were driving, you said that gig was horrendous, like 75, like in a restaurant, and they were walking in front of you and everything. That was brutal. But then you come and do this cancer fundraiser, and I was like, Bob, if you could just give me 40, 45 minutes, I'd be forever in. And we had a great lineup. We had Robin Fox, we had Anthony DeVito, Joanne Filan hosted. Bobby goes up, crushes for an hour and 25 minutes. I think every person there brought merch. And the great thing about Bobby's merch is it all goes to a terrific charity, which just talk a little bit about that charity, because, you know, our listeners do, support the show and our guests.
I have a little one of my daughter. I have a little special needs daughter, and she doesn't walk and she doesn't talk. And to me, she speaks volumes. And I'm nuts over her. I was brought up again in New York that you always took up for. Remember the kids that were mongoloids? Remember those? And if anyone called them retarded or anything, my mother used to say, any of those kids pick on Julius, this one guy. And she goes, let him know it. And me and my brothers would be like, apologize. And if we ever catch you, you don't do that. You know, it's like you don't have a president make fun of special needs people. You don't do that. We were brought up like it. So she goes to a camp called Zeno Mountain Farm, and it's up in Vermont. And it's one of the most special places I've ever seen. And my wife's on the board, and she's a chef. So she goes up. It's a month long, 95 kids. Nobody paid. Half these kids are sitting in closets. You know what I mean? So they look forward to it. And we donate. We do these shows called Comics for a Cause. And we do it around in Florida, New York, and California. And matter of fact, the last show I ever did, March 15th, was down in the Boca Black Box, and it was for Comics for a Cause.
Oh, sure.
And, yeah, so it's kind of ironic. And, you know, just to see these kids, how happy they are, and their parents can't afford to send them anywhere. So to have them come to this camp is pretty special.
That's a great thing that you kind of do there. And you get some great comics performing on the show.
Oh,
right?
We've had Jay Leno, friends, Ray Romano, Tim Allen, all the lunatics. All that I came up with. I'll call them up. And then there's Bill Burr. There's the Bobby, whatever you need. And that's what you expect. And I would do that. And when they call. So that's what
when you come back, I'm available. So, you know, I did open for Uncle Floyd. So I'll be happy to do it, you know, on the arm.
Would love to have you. So
the name of our show is Who's Your Band? And when I asked you to pick a band, I absolutely love the choice that you made. I'm not a huge fan of this band, but you know, it was a really interesting choice because we've never even talked about this band before, Sean. And the band Bobby picks is who?
Santana.
Come
on, she's a black magic woman.
I know 3 Santana songs.
You know.
First of all, a legendary band. I mean, without Santana, you know you don't have Journey because Neil Schon and Greg Raleigh played in Santana. And then another interesting member of Santana had millions of members, okay? Buddy Miles from Jimi Hendrix was a percussionist for Santana.
Do you realize that Journey comes up on this goddamn show like every other week?
It's like they're like the Kevin Bacon of musical acts. There's always a link. You know, they've been around forever. They've changed their style a bunch of different times, but if you have a problem with Journey, you got to take it out on Santana.
No, the problem I have with Journey is that stupid ending episode of The Sopranos where they made "Don't Stop Believin'" the most popular song of all friggin' time. Now I can't go to a bar or a restaurant when I'm seeing some 19-year-old girl from SUNY Oneonta singing every goddamn lyric to that song. I hate the damn song.
It's still a great song. It still holds up.
Ugh.
Now I worked with Santana's manager, which that was Bill Graham. I worked with him for a number of years, in fact. Interesting story about Santana was when he first started. We are just getting started. This is in the late 60s. There was an LA concert promoter named Chet Helms. And he saw the band play a few times and then told Carlos, you know what? Better off maybe keeping your day job. He was a dishwasher in a diner.
Right.
Yeah, that I guess he kind of missed a calling on that because right out of the gate, man, Santana's first album, 1969. You know, first 2 songs on Santana, Jingo and Evil Ways, and
you
then
got to change your evil ways. Baby.
Great.
Remember those? I love that. I always liked the Beatles. I always liked the Stones, but come on, give me somebody that, you know, I always liked the
Yeah, why did you pick Santana?
Always loved him. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I'd always listen. Friends of mine, they'd go, Bobby, what are you doing? I go, I like Santana. I like the beat. I like the, you know, it's like Bruno Mars. I like that look too. They go that way. They go this way. I like
Santana
that.
yeah, had that very cool, still does have a very cool Latin overtones
Right.
in his music.
Black Lives
Having
Matter.
having Bill Graham as your manager, he Bill Graham in '69 was helping organize Woodstock,
Right.
and so now he has this young band under his wing, and he's like, look, you got to get them on the bill. So Santana winds up playing a 45-minute set on the second day of Woodstock, and then things just kind of like exploded for them. You know, the
And
album
I
took
was
out.
at Woodstock.
You were at Woodstock?
Yeah.
How the fuck old are you?
We were in high school, and a friend of mine, John Mamalezzi, Greek guy, they Kanyas.
Love the names, by the way.
He said to me, he goes, Bob, they're having this big thing going on up a little upstate New York. I go, yeah. He goes, he had a nice new car. He was just learning how to drive it. He goes, do you want to go? I go, sure. We went up, parked the car on the side of the highway like everyone else. We jumped on one of those trucks with everybody, just hung on, and we went there. And I remember sitting there. We were high school kids, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I'd look over, somebody's tapping me, and they handed me a joint. Hey, I went like that. I gave it to John, my friend. He comes it back. I go, no, you got to pass it along. You got to pass it. He goes, oh,
Did you get laid?
No. But we saw all the, you know, they're up dancing, you know, and it was great. Then the rain started.
Oh, for the rain, yeah. And then like Santana also, I mean, they follow up, you know, sometimes, you know, first album, you know, you kind of like, it's kind of like a comedian when they, you know, their first album is all the years of work, right? But then the second album is Abraxas.
Right.
Which is, right, and that's Black Magic Woman, which a lot of people don't know is a Fleetwood Mac. It's a Fleetwood Mac cover.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, it is. And also on that is the song you were singing before, Omo Como Va, which remember Tito Puente?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. In
Jump
the early
in, Adam. Jump in anytime, Adam.
In the early 60s, he makes that one really popular. It's a Spanish song that was written in the 1930s, and Santana comes in and puts his own little spin on it. And I love I hadn't thought about Santana until you brought it up. And then I went back and started looking at all, you know, and listening to all the different records. And you know what I found? Sean, you know more Santana than you think. He did a song in 2003 off of an
Supernatural.
Supernatural was 99. That was Smooth and Maria.
Yeah.
Those were two monster hits. They were great.
Oh, yeah.
But later on in 2002, off of Shaman, the song Game of Love with Michelle Branch.
Yeah, they also did a song too with the singer from Nickelback on that album. And they released a version of it, and then something happened where the guy from Nickelback never told his record company, and they were like, "You can't put that out." They're like, "Well, we just released 500,000 copies of it," and they re-recorded it with somebody else too. I think with Steven Tyler instead.
Oh wow!
Wow!
I was just thinking too. You mentioned the Stones before. Like, you have to think of like how good the drugs were at that time frame, because I don't know if you heard, Jeff, they just released a Stones song that just came out called Scarlet that they recorded in 1974. They forgot about it.
Okay.
And it's with Jimmy Page playing guitar on it.
Jesus.
What kind of shit are you on? What's that?
Is Keith Richards playing with it?
Yeah, they all are. There apparently it was like a day where Zeppelin was coming out of the studio and the Stones were coming into the studio, and they bumped into Jimmy in the hallway, and he was like, "What are you working on?" They played him this song. He was like, "I'll play on it." So like they're doing like this reissue of Goat's Head Soup that's coming out like in next month or something.
Wow.
What kind of shit are you on that you don't remember recording a song with one of the greatest guitar players of all time guesting on it?
That's when you're smoking your body weight in pot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh God.
And I had a similar experience like that with Uncle Floyd. Yeah, it's it really.
You're a nut. You're a nut, Jeff.
I love working with Uncle Floyd because every time I walk into the room, I'll see him and he'll be like, "What's your name?" I go, "My name is Sean Morton. Nice to meet you." "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Floyd. Are you paying me?"
Who is that? Is he Rich Voss's father?
No, he's Italian. And here's the thing: Uncle Floyd's been around for like 100 years. He's only 62 years old.
Right?
Get the fuck. He is not.
He's only in his 60s.
Uncle
He's only
Floyd
in his 60s.
He
Yes.
has got to be. He got to be in his 80s.
Nope. I will.
Right.
Nope. I will pull it up right now because I have this thing called Google, Jeff.
All right. Well, you're googling that. You know what's another great?
You're a good man.
Oh, Sean is the best.
Uncle Floyd is 68 years old.
Fuck. How he's been around forever.
Yeah.
Looks like he's 86.
You got to figure he was wearing like the stupid hat and the coats when he was probably 26 years old, calling everybody he was calling me uncle. You know what I mean? It's a little creepy if you think about it.
Oh my God. You know what's another great song Santana did? Do you remember, Bob, do you remember the song Winning?
Yes.
From Z-Bop?
Yes.
And you know
Boy,
what?
you guys know your music, huh? Or you
That's what we
looked it
do,
up?
man. That's what we do. But the thing with that song is, if you ever listen and look up the words of Winning, that song is a very inspirational song, and it's used in a lot of cancer hospitals, and like for to just pull people through tough times. And that's why that song always kind of like will live on. It's a great underrated Santana song.
You know what they're
You ought to
playing?
play.
You know what they're playing now in the hospitals now when they wheel the COVID patients out, right?
What?
That fucking Journey song again.
You ought to play that song when you shave, Jeff. Just shave that bad.
No, not until I know that they're. Bob, have you been performing at all?
Me?
Yes.
No. Matter of fact, I got about 9 calls for drive-in movies or something
That's
like
what
that.
I'm just gonna. That's what we're just getting at.
I said no. I said they asked me Zoom. No, I'm going to do as a favor to a lady. I forget her name. Deborah Becker, a comedian. I heard she fell on some tough times, and I did something. Her podcast. I did 27 podcasts. Yours makes 28, and because it keeps you relevant, keeps you moving. And I did that. She asked me on the 22nd or the 22nd of August if I would do a Zoom thing. So I got a couple of guys, Chris Roach, Mike Ziegler, just to do 10
guys.
Yeah, I'll do 15, 20 and let them keep the money if they make any. And just to work it out. I'll try it. I did a podcast I did 10 podcasts. And that was fun. But, I did all these videos that I put out just to keep relevant and have fun with. Did you see any of them in the video?
Of course. Yeah.
And I got calls from producers out here in Cal. Bobby, would you be interested in a podcast? No. Why not? I don't want to say to comics, so when did you start comedy? And how long have you been doing it? And did you know such? I don't give a shit.
Those are the first fucking 3 things I asked you.
That's why I'm saying. Sean, hit him.
You made me so happy, Bobby. You made me so happy.
So then he said, what would you do with Zoom?
Great seeing you, Bobby. And I really
drive safe. Watch the Holland Tunnel.
Every time I'm near that stupid Holland Tunnel, I think about you. And I'm like, I can't let this guy get in front of me. God forbid I'm a good Samaritan. No, can't do it.
Be a good man. Drive good.
Be grateful. Be grateful that you're still out in California, though, Bobby. Now what they're doing is they're doing checkpoints at the bridges and tunnels. Yes, They started yesterday.
Oh, out here it's. I went into a store. I didn't have a mask by accident. I left it in the car. The lady said, "Sir, you can't come in. You need a mask." Some other lady gave me a Kotex pad with a rubber band. I used it. I didn't care. One place I went in, they took my temperature. Yeah. Another place, I got a colonoscopy. So I'm taking advantage, and I pee a lot because I got older. So I just bought a porta pot and I take it with me. I travel.
What do the people out in California think of the mayor out there?
I asked someone the other day that, and they go, "Oh, we like him. He's good. He really cares." Gassetti or something.
Gassetti, yeah.
Yeah, and we were brought up in New York. You have they have what's his face there, Mayor.
We have Mayor De Blasio.
Yeah, everyone hates Mayor De Blasio in New
Yes.
York.
He
That's why everyone hated Trump. He got 1% of the vote. Why do you think he moved to Florida? And no, politicians to us growing up in New York, it was just another corporation. It was a money corporation. You know what I mean? I performed at the White House twice. You shake their hands, you want to clean yourself with a chicken.
You performed for Clinton, right?
Clinton and Trump.
For Trump, really?
Yeah. Me and Celine Dion at his inauguration.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Wow.
Yeah. And money. Money doesn't discriminate. People do.
Because it's show business.
Thank you.
Because it's show business.
$7.50 to get through the toll booth.
Listen, you don't hang out with Bobby Collins, drive around with him and not learn something. You'll learn, don't let people in, and that it's show business.
Show business.
The business. The show.
Because I talked to a couple of, remember, Chris Roach, right? Good Long Island guy.
Yes.
And one day my wife said to me, "Hey, Bob, come see this guy." We had stopped in at Governor's Comedy Club on Long Island. I was doing that Westbury Theater. And afterwards she goes, "Let's stop in." Okay, we stop in. I'm talking to the owner. And all of a sudden Jill says, "Bobby, come see this guy. He's hysterical. He's sillier than you." I said, "Come on, let's just go home. Let's get out of here." I walk in and see him. He was Chris Roach, funny guy, made me crack up. Mm-hmm. And he came over to me and I said to him, "Hey, how much would you charge to open for me in a theater?" I go, "Because I'll do some out in Long Island and New Jersey." And he goes, "Bobby, I'll do it for free." I went, Show business. This is a business. He goes, "How about 100? I go, "How about I do first two for 500? If it works out, I'll give you $1,000. And he said, "Unbelievable, let's do it." And I've worked with him for 3 or 4 years.
And he can be your bodyguard.
He's a great guy too. I know.
I worked with him at a little dinky club in Hartford. So the host goes up, and the host is like 6 foot, and he's barely clearing the ceiling because there's like an overhang, right? So I get up there, and I'm 6'3", and I smack my head on there. So
really?
I'm coming off, and I go, "Chris, you better be careful because there's an overhang there." He goes, "Oh, I've been here before, no problem." Walks right on the stage, boom, right on the side of the head.
Right.
Because he's like 6'7", 6'8". He's a monster.
I know, and I kid him. I said he's not that high up on Brain Mountain. So when I laugh and kid with him all the time. He's a great guy.
Great dude.
One time, me, Bobby, and Chris Roach, we did a show, remember, all in New Jersey, all the way in some fucking woods in New Jersey. And remember, in the middle of the room, there was a chandelier made out of like deer antlers.
Oh, it was upstairs in a place.
Upstairs, right.
Right, and it was sold out, but there was a big thing in the middle, and then the stage was on one side, and I'm going, what a shithole.
Stage. I don't think there was a stage. I think it was driftwood. I'm not sure. Okay. And there's like a row of seats, and then there was like a big square where this antler chandelier was, and then the people were like in the back. So now Chris is driving you home, and didn't you guys run out of gas or almost run out of gas?
Yeah, because he's taking the wrong roads. I go, "Chris, you got to read more. You got to learn. You can't be so slow."
He wasn't sure what the E stood for.
I know, but see, everyone asks me. I used to see comics come over to me. They go, "What are you doing in a place like this?" I go, "Tomorrow night," because I'm at Morristown Center for the Arts, and that's sold out. It's got 1,500 people. And I go, "You always need a place to warm up. We're comics. We don't judge the place. You got to work on your material." "Bobby, you just did an hour and 20 minutes. I needed to work. I needed to get my rhythm, my timing. I wanted to see which direction it was going." That's what we use audiences for.
What makes you laugh the most?
Oh, God. I look at different things different ways. Like politics makes me laugh. I mean, I hear people nowadays, they're all, oh my God, how could this guy, this and that? I've known Donald Trump for 27 years. If you can't, I used to be able to, from New York, sit in the subway as a kid and look over at these other people on the subway and look in their eyes and go, wow, why is this guy putting on like he's this and that when he's so insecure and he doesn't see it? And other people don't see that. We used to look in people and see it. I'm still amazed that people can't see Donald Trump for what he is or who he is, and that's to my credit, because I grew up in New York and we were brought up like that, to look in people. And, politics makes me laugh. And now people get upset when somebody that's a selfish narcissist piece of shit is making the rest of the country and lying over 20,000 times, and people are standing up for him. I'm surprised people can't look and just see when he's making the speech. I crack up because he's bullshitting. And then my wife will go, what are you laughing at? Look what this man's saying. I go, honey, he's a joke. People don't see that. So things like that make me laugh.
So you don't like Donald Trump?
I don't like any politician. And then when I worked for him, my wife, don't say anything. Don't do political stuff. This is the new president. I opened up. I said, ladies and gentlemen, they introduced me. I go, and our new president is here, Donald J. Trump. They all applauded. I go, I guess orange is the new black. And they cracked up. They cracked up. And afterwards, he came over to me with his administration boys, we represent the lollipop, kill the lollipop. And he said to me, he goes, hey, Bobby, did you vote for me? I said, Donnie, I would have rather voted for El Chapo. They all laughed. He didn't.
He didn't laugh.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. Play it light, play both sides. I always do. Show politics, Democrat, Republican, show how ridiculous it both is.
Right.
Very true.
And let them decide.
So during this pandemic, you're not, getting out a lot. You filmed a couple things. Have you been watching any funny movies, any comedies that you're enjoying?
No, I don't. Everybody, Bobby, did you see this movie on Netflix? Did you see? No. I keep myself busy with the wife. Like today, I did a 4-mile walk with 3 women. So I wanted to buy a gun, shoot you're walking, and they walk. It's
what time
hey,
What time did you get up to do this?
9:30 they leave. Come back by 10:30. We did 4.5, almost 6 miles. Excuse me. Knocked me out. And then I have to do all phone work. Then people are reaching out. There's a new television show and they're asking me to be a host of it. And I got to find out the validity of how strong the people are. And I found out the guy's very strong. But what is going on? Nothing's going on now except, sure, I'd be up for that. I would do that. I remember after I did Vh1 Stand-Up Spotlight, they all wanted me to be a game show host. And I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to. Now all the guys are doing it. This one, that one. Everybody's doing the whole gamut. I don't want to do that stuff.
I read Drew Carey makes $1 million an episode doing Price is Right.
$1 million an episode?
$1 million an episode.
And if you knew Drew Carey, you would say, thank God. He's a nut. Drew's a great guy.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he came from an old neighborhood in Cleveland. He went back and built a castle in his old neighborhood. I go, you could live anywhere in the country. Why'd you pick your old neighborhood? Bobby, I feel very comfortable here.
That's great.
What kind of show are they interested in you in?
Like a hosting show for where I would go to a celebrity's home. I can't tell you that much about, and you see their home and how they live and make fun and laugh.
That sounds like a good premise. I could see you at that. I could see you. I could very easily have seen you go the game show route. You'd be excellent.
Well, I'd have fun, and the guys get a lot of money. I was kidding.
They would call Bobby Collins the new John Davidson.
Yeah, right. I was kidding Tim Allen the other day. They start shooting this show with Last Man Standing or something. I don't.
Sean, do you know that show?
The Tim Allen comedy, yeah.
Last Standing Man or something.
Last Man Standing.
Yeah, and I go like this: you get $1.1 million for doing it, and you do 16 a year. He goes, yeah. I go, I want to do that. And they're starting it up again at the end of this in August. Crazy.
Oh man, the time just flew by on this show.
It did. Now I'm thinking about putting a role for Bobby in my sitcom that I'm writing.
I'm in.
Bobby could be like the cab driver. Hey, you'd be going, hey, where you want to go? Yeah, and that's what you can say. And then you can complain about too much noise, because you don't like a lot of noise. That's your character. That's your back character. You don't like too much noise. You grew up in a big household. Too much noise.
Somebody gave me a sitcom thing, and what was the name of it? Where I'm a doorman, a New York City doorman, and the catch of it is what?
I could see that too.
Yeah, and you're friendly and nice to all the people coming. And this old man who lived on the 20th floor, you knew he was rich, but he was just a gentleman, and he loved to always like coming down to talk to me. You know, that one guy. And then unbeknownst to me, he dies. Everyone felt bad, because the people that liked him and everything. And then they found out that he owned the building and he left it to me, the doorman.
Sounds like Mr. Deeds.
Well, and they had it written out and everything, and it was a lot of fun. I forget the name of it, but it went nowhere. Not that they tried; they didn't try. It's dead. It's sitting.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping to be a co-host on the new remake of the Uncle Floyd show. And if I can, I would love.
Let me go to the porta potty. You guys.
All right. Bob, man, it really is a pleasure, man, seeing you again. I miss you out here. I can't wait till this whole freaking thing is over. So get back out on the East Coast. We can get back out in the West Coast.
Have you performed at all?
Yeah. Yes, I've been performing pretty much every weekend, but doing parking lot shows, doing shows outside under tents. There's a club in Queens called QED that they happen to have a backyard. It's Christian Finnegan's wife's club. They have a patio in the backyard, so I just did that last week. This weekend I'm also out in Queens somewhere. So yeah,
Good for you. I need the batting practice. I need it. I did a commencement speech for some college in Boston. That was it. Had fun doing it. But
are you writing still?
Yeah, I'm writing new stuff. These kids. Everything now is computers, phones, LOL. Yeah. What about us? What about us? GTD. I got to go to the doctors. FWICIH. I forgot why I came in here. Things like that. Shut up.
That's awesome.
That's how he's doing. He's relating to the youth. LOL.
LOL. Little pricks. They live on their phones. They think it's real. That's not real.
You know what? Don't put down the or quit on the Zoom shows. They're not bad, and they're great ways of trying out new material. They really are they're really kind of like open mics.
Okay, now Bob, here's the truth. They're fucking horrible.
They're not that bad. Oh, stop. They're not that bad.
They're horrible. It's the worst thing ever. I'm never doing them again.
Yeah. Sean, I'm with you. I'm going to do one just to see how it is. But, I got to get the writing done and all that. I miss traveling and getting on a plane. I mean, I've canceled I haven't been home for 2 weeks in 40 years.
Wow. That's right. You're always going like from Florida to New York.
Right.
I mean, every time I'm talking to you, you're flying out at some weird hour on Sunday morning or Monday, and you're just hoping to get back to your place in time so you can get your shit together and go. Right. And for you to just be stabilized in LA, wow, what's that like for you? And is your wife ready to kill you yet?
Yes, she is. It's called domestic violence, and I caught her with a but it's. If I was going to be anywhere, though, to be honest with you, I miss my apartment in New York. But if I was going to be anywhere, it's the bubble out here. You know, we got the pool. I'll go on the pool. I run down to the ocean. It's 6 blocks. I'll run in, dunk, jump, run in, come back out. It's cold here, though. Very cold.
What do you mean cold? What's cold?
The water. The water.
What's cold? Like what's the temperature where you guys are?
60.
Wow.
No, the temperature outside?
Yes.
No, right now it's like 74. It's always cooler here by the ocean.
That's
You go,
pretty cold for August.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You walk. Honestly, we did that walk 6 miles. You walk in 3 miles. It's 88, 87. That's how cool it is by the ocean. It's beautiful here. It's nice, but the people. Oh my God! You talk about racism. You talk about They didn't grow up like we did. They don't get it. You know,
You
they're
miss New York.
they're really white
You can
privileged. Huh?
You can tell. You miss New York.
Yeah, I love
You're a New Yorker at heart.
And I can't wait to get the hell out of here and move to LA. What is wrong with me?
Where you living now, Sean?
I'm in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Nice.
Yeah. But I love LA. I would move there in a heartbeat.
It's just different. You know?
It is different. It's very different.
Yeah, the sharp kids that I run into, parents that my wife knows, and their kids, they go to New York, to NYU, or that they're never coming back. They love New York.
Yeah, and every time I fly out to LA, I cry on the way back because I miss it. I miss LA.
Is New York the same now that it was 6 months ago? And will it ever be the same as what it was? Same thing with LA.
Yeah, I think it will be. I've never seen more helicopters and stuff around California in my life.
I mean, businesses are leaving by every day, like on Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, Victoria's Secret, all these big businesses are looking to just leave. And then you have a city council here that wants to take those vacant buildings and put the homeless in it. I mean, the plans that they have are insane. So it's like, what we remember New York to be 6 months ago. In LA, is it going to be that way when we get a vaccine? Because I think there'll be a vaccine, fairly soon. But will the cities be back?
You know, my brother died of COVID. And,
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But that's why I'm bringing a class action with some other people, class action lawsuit, civil lawsuit to against the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. 157,000 people are dead, and you didn't see this coming and do anything about it, and you're still lying about it. Not when my brother's dead.
That makes it too real, man. That makes it too real.
I know. And it happens then when you open the schools and you have these parents wanting to get away from the kids and one of them die immediately. You're going to go, why did we open these schools?
Yeah, they're not opening.
No, I think you're wrong. I think they will open the schools.
New York will open. New Jersey is not going to open schools.
New York, hell or high water. Unless we get past that 3% mark, they are going to open. Cuomo wants it open as much as Trump does. He's been talking about this since the beginning, and he used the analogy of the valves. If we're going to have people go back to work, you can't have kids sit at home. And New York City schools are basically glorified daycare centers.
And what about that moron Governor DeSantis down in Florida? He opened it all up. More died. Disaster.
Yeah. Well, did you see what happened in 2 school districts outside of Atlanta? They went back to school on Monday, and the hallways were crowded, and no one's wearing a mask. And the defense is, it's optional. It should be no fucking option.
Well, it's great when New Jersey's doing this. Governor Murphy just went like this. Oh, I govern the whole state. Well, here's what we're going to do. Every town, you do whatever you want. I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want to be involved. I run the thing, but I don't want to be involved.
Right. No leadership. Any other president would have taken this thing by the balls. All right, you have to wear a mask. You're going to get fined. You have to have social distance. We want this thing out. You want your kid to die? You don't hear this. You're hearing all this, Fauci and this and that one. I'm going, are you people out of your mind? We've never lived, the three of us sitting there, comics. We make people laugh. We make people hold up a mirror and look at themselves. Now we're having everyone look at themselves, even us. And we're going, what's going on? We've never experienced something like this ever. Isn't it amazing?
Did you ever think that you would feel bad for Live Nation, that has lost 98% of their business? Live Nation, that owns all the concert venues, and they control all the tickets, and they have lost 98% of their business, and there's no sign of this coming back right now.
It'll be back. I think
you're right.
Come January.
I think you're right.
That's when I'm taking my dates, from January on.
So you're pretty much done for 2020.
Well, I'm booked. September, I got two weekends. I'm not going to probably take them. One, you'll get a kick out of this. I was supposed to be down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And you know Richie Minervini?
Oh, yeah.
And Richie was going to open for me. And I called them about a month beforehand. I go, guys, I'm sorry. I got a special needs kid. I can't get sick, and I don't want to bring anything home to her. So I'm going to cancel. And they moved it to September. And they made him the headliner. So he called me up. He goes, that was the smartest thing you ever did. I go, why? He goes, it was sold out for you. I go, yeah, but I couldn't do it because of my daughter. And I go, how many did you have Friday night? He goes, 27 people first show, 39 the second show. The place seats maybe 300. I go, just curious, Rich, do people in South Carolina, because I know them, I go, just curious, the people in South, did they wear masks? Because, Bobby, not one person had a mask. I go, did they social distance? They go, they don't know what that is.
I can imagine social distance in a room that holds 300 people, and there's under 40 people.
They don't know. They it's the South. We're going to make America great again. When you, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is, man. I hope this can't end fast enough for me. It really can.
I know. I want to get up. I'm glad to hear that you're up there. At least, you're in batting practice. I'm a little bit like, well, what bit would I do? Oh, that's a little bit, passe now. What bit can I do now to, talk about, I went in for this, and I went in, what's going on? The NRA. What? See what I mean?
But you know what the thing is, like, you're writing. I write, and then you, like, where you're gonna work it out, how you're gonna, what are you gonna do? Because I have all these papers piled up, and that's why I'm suggesting try the Zoom shows. They're not bad. At least it puts the word. You get the words out. Do
you stand up?
No.
You sit like
but
this,
Bobby, you get these fucking people who bring a microphone, and it's not plugged in. And they're doing it against a fake brick wall,
or the brick wall that is superimposed in the background. Right.
No, I'd rather order Greek food and watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding for the 413th time.
You watched that movie?
One of my favorite movies ever.
What the?
Hey, I started to watch Good Times. Not Good Times. What is it? Casino. I don't remember it.
I watched it last night.
It was wonderful.
I love it.
Casino is an all-time great.
I know. I was like, did I forget this? I'm gonna go.
Bobby, did you know that Jeff was in The Irishman?
Was he?
Yeah.
Jeff, I didn't know this.
You're such a fucking liar. You're not that good of an actor.
I went like this. There he is. He's walking through. There he is.
In Casino, I really think Sharon Stone is so underrated in that movie. Everybody talks about it, Pesci and De Niro. Sharon Stone, man, was incredible.
Wonderful.
And my hero was in that movie too, Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
All you had to do is just kind of stand there and get beat up.
Yep, pretty much.
Guys, I'm going.
I watched it last night at 2:00 in the morning.
Bobby, it's been a pleasure. We really appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Jeff, Sean, thank you guys for having me. It was a piss. Say hi to everyone you run into.
We'll do. Be
we'll
safe.
Do it soon.
Be careful. And hey, man, we miss you. We got a great one coming up next week, guys. We have comedian Larry Bayer and New York State Assemblyman Charles Full. So you're not going to want to miss that one. We do. We talk politics, everything on this show, Bob.
I know we did.
Yeah.
And if fucking Journey comes up next week, I'm done. It's my last episode.
Well, we have two African American guests. I doubt if that. Well, I don't know, but Larry,
I'm dark. Look at me, African American. Black Lives Matter.
On that note, I don't know if we could edit this, right, Adam?
Shut up, you wise ass. Comics, we're not racist. We cut through the lines. We're everything.
Of course.
All right,
guys. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Next
See
week.
you guys later. Thank you, Bobby.